Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Joy Stephen and I am coming to you with a Quebec skilled worker point calculation or evaluation from the Polinsys Studios. Quebec is known, people normally come to me and tell me that evaluating Quebec is very difficult. So I spoke to my colleague Abraham Sayag, and I have come up with something which I hope you will find it easy to calculate. Let me do my best to explain the point system for Quebec, and you may calculate the points to see if you are eligible to apply. We are going to limit our evaluations with two examples, one for nurses from India and the other is for nurses from the Philippines. Similar evaluations apply to all categories as well, depending on the profession. This evaluation is for foreign nationals who have never been to Quebec before and who does not have relatives in Quebec. If you are a single nurse, your pass mark is 55 points. And if you are a married nurse, then your pass mark to qualify for Quebec skilled worker is 63. However, when we evaluate you today, we do not want to confuse you with your language scores or skills. Therefore, we are going to evaluate based on other factors, and we will come to French and English evaluations later on if required. In many cases, you may not need language points, or you may require very little language points, especially for nurses. Please take out a piece of paper and a pen and write down the 7 evaluation criteria. If you are a married nurse, then you may want to also write down 3 additional spousal criteria. For the single applicant or for the family applicant primary, these are the 7 criteria you may want to write in this piece of paper. 1 is education, 2 training, 3 is experience, 4 is age, 5 is children, 6 is financial, and 7 adaptability. Financial is a fixed 1 point which you may award yourself right away, and adaptability is another 2 points. Now, those of you who are married, you may want to write down the 3 spousal criteria. 1 is education, 2 is area of training, and 3 is age. Keep in mind that we are not going into French or English language requirements for the time being. Okay, now let's go back and evaluate for the primary applicant or the single applicant, the 7 major criteria. The number 1 criteria will be the education level. If you're a nurse from India and you are a GNM nurse, that is a diploma nurse, or a graduate nurse or a BSc nurse, you will get 10 points. Please write down on the sheet of paper for education 10 points. If you're a nurse from the Philippines and you are a graduate nurse with a G10 plus 4 years, then you get 10 points. Please write down on the piece of paper 10 points. Now, if you're a postgraduate nurse, or if you have completed your master's in nursing like the MSc nursing from Indian universities or institutions, you will get 12 points instead of the 10 points. But from the Philippines, if you have done masters, you will still get 10 points. The second criteria is area of training. A lot of points are awarded for this sector and you must pay careful attention to it. These points are awarded to candidates if you have obtained your nursing qualification within the last 5 years. But if you have obtained your qualifications before 5 years, you will still qualify for these points if you have worked for at least 1 year in the last 5 years in nursing. If you have not worked for the last 5 years, or if you have passed your nursing course prior to 5 years, then you will not qualify for these points. You will earn 16 points, 16 points, if you are a nurse from India or the Philippines. Okay, now let's move on to the third criteria, and that is experience. Work experience for Quebec skilled is calculated based on work done in the last 5 years. If you have only worked for less than 6 months, you get 0 points. If you have worked for more than 6 months, 6 months or more, but less than 2 years, you get 4 points. If you have worked for 2 years and more, but less than 4 years, you get 6 points. If you have worked for 4 years or more, then you get 8 points. Now we'll go to the next criteria, and that is age. If you are between the age of 18 to 35, you get 16 points. Now you can minus 2 points for every year you are older than 35 until you get 0 points. Therefore, if you are 36, then you get 14 points instead of 16 points. If you are 37, then you get 12 points, and so on. Now we will go to the next criteria, and that is specifically for married individuals or single family parents too. If you have children, Quebec awards you points. You can earn a maximum of 8 points. For each child 12 years or less, you get 4 points. And for each child 13 years to 21 years, you get 2 points. Now, as I told you before, for financial autonomy, which is the next criteria, you get 1 point. And for adaptability, you can write down 2 points. These points are given at the time of interview. Now let us calculate the points for the accompanying spouse. You have 3 criteria there. The first one is education level. Now, if you have general secondary diploma, you get 1 point. You have a 1 or 2 year post-secondary professional or technical diploma, you get 2 points. If you have done a post-secondary 3-year course or upwards, whether it's professional or technical, you get 3 points. So if you're a graduate, postgraduate, or diploma holder with 3 years or more, you get 3 points. And as an example, if your spouse is also a nurse, you get 3 points. Okay, the second criteria is area of training for the spouse. Now that depends on various professions, and professions are too many. So we will not be able to go through each of the professions here, but as an example, if your spouse is a nurse, then you earn 4 points. The third criteria is age for spouse. If your spouse is between the ages of 18 to 35, you earn 3 points. If your spouse is between the ages of 36 to 39, you earn 2 points. If your spouse is between the ages of 40 to 42, you earn 1 point, and 43 and over, it's 0 points. Now we are going to evaluate language. Quebec does not have a minimum requirement for language, and French and English points need to be calculated only if you do not have sufficient points otherwise. I am going to give you at least 3 examples where you don't require language, or whether you require limited language points, for example English. The first example is for a married applicant who do not need language points, both English and French. If the primary applicant is a nurse whose spouse is also a nurse with 1 child less than 12 years of age, then this applicant gets 10 points for education, 16 points for area of training, 8 points for 4 years of experience, 16 points for age less than 35, 7 points for spousal education and training because the spouse is also a nurse, 3 points for age of spouse less than 35, 4 points for 1 child, and this will add up to 67, which will include financial autonomy as well. The pass mark is only 63. So even without language, this applicant has got more points than required. Therefore, language points will not be considered and you need not do your IELTS or French language exams. Example 2 for a married applicant who do not need language scores. Again, if the applicant is a nurse who has married a graduate spouse, they have 2 children under the age of 12, they get 66 points and the pass mark is only 63. So again, they get more points than the required pass mark even without considering language. The third one is a single applicant without the need for language scores. Take an MSc nurse from India with 4 years of experience, age below 35. He or she will get 55 points including adaptability and financial autonomy. The pass mark is 55. So he or she need not do their language exams or language credentials. Now I'm going to give you some examples of cases where you need to do only the small English language exam. You don't need to do the French. And then we'll go on to evaluations. Example of a family who only require English course. Say, consider a nurse with 1 year experience. Age less than 35, spouse is also a nurse, and age less than 35. They earn 59 points, including adaptability and financial autonomy. They will require 4 points from IELTS English. And they may not require any French language points. So they will require a 5 band in IELTS, which is very, very minimal. Now here is the second set of examples for applicants who only may need English and not French scores, very limited English scores again. Nurse with 2 years of experience, age less than 35. Spouse is a nurse and age less than 35. No children. They will get 61 points including adaptability and financial autonomy. They need 2 points from IELTS scores, which is very minimal. There are several other examples, but you can calculate your points yourself and find out. If you're finding it difficult, just email your resume to us at info@immigrationforme.com. But you may have to wait for around 3 days to get a response. You may also post your questions in the immigration section of canadaimmigrationforyou.com. Let us now go to the points for English and French. English for the primary or the single applicant. If you have reading 4.5, writing 5, speaking 5, and listening 5, you get 1 point each to a total of 4 points. Now, for speaking and listening, if you have more than 7 or more in speaking and 8 or more in listening, you get 2 points each, just for those 2. So I'll give you 2 examples here. If you have 5 in each band, then what is the points you will gain for English? You earn 4 points in total. The second example, if you have 7 in reading, writing, and speaking, and 8 in listening in your IELTS scores, what points do you earn? Does anyone know? You earn 1 for reading, 1 for writing, 2 for speaking, and 2 for listening. So you earn 6 points. Now let's get to French. Again, for the primary or the single applicant. Reading and writing, if you have B level or above, you get 1 point each. Listening and speaking, if you have B2 level, you get 5 points each. That is 5 in speaking, 5 in listening. If you have C1, which is a little more advanced than B2, you get 6 points each. If you have C2, which is quite advanced, you have 7 points each. Now for French for spouse, you get, if your spouse has got B2, he or she gets 2 points each. If your spouse has got C1 or more, then he or she gets 3 points. This is the Quebec evaluation. Please review and try to understand. Charts are provided here on this video to try my best to make it clearer. If you want to do a more thorough evaluation, please download the free app from our website, immigrationforme.com. We hope our free evaluation session, free information session will place you in some of the world's best destinations like Quebec. This is Joy Stephen signing off. Wish you all the best. Thank you.